And your name
Bobby Lee Smart.
and your position?
I'm the current Vice President of Part-Time Faculty for CCFF.
What makes you qualified to run for the Vice President position again?
Well, I think what makes me qualified is, one, I've done this for the past 2 years, and so we're starting to meld as a team. It takes some time to do that, and I think we've finally gotten there. I've also been trained to do grievance, and I was on the negotiations team this last round. I guess I'm expected to be on the negotiations team next round. It's already been talked about when our dates will be. But also I sit on statewide committees for CFT. And so that means that I am on the part-time committee talking to people about their issues, explaining our issues, figuring out what we should be aware of and scared of that is happening in other districts, but also what we should be fighting for, because other places have things that are a lot better than us that we might not even be thinking of. And we're a baby union, so our contract is small. So I think those are some of the things union-wide that make me qualified, but also my dissertation in my doctoral program is on the impact of part-time faculty on community colleges. So I'm looking at how this impacts not just part-timers, but full-timers and institutions as a whole, which informs the way that I deal with negotiations and what I want to fight for in those spaces and how I navigate.
Thank you. The lack of equity between full-time and part-time faculty, as you know, is a big issue. How do you define equity, and what are your plans to address these issues?
So equity is different than equality. It means that you're getting people what they need to be closer to where people are, right? We know that our full-timers have issues and that they are dealing with like pay issues in the assignment article that we just got, but part-timers are even less than that. Right, so we have to try to get our part-timers closer to where full-timers are. And that doesn't mean that they're the exact same as full-time, but it does mean that they're paid the same for the same education and the same experience. It does mean that they get health care or health reimbursement if they're teaching full loads. It does mean that their work rules and their expectations should be the same as a full-timer, because our students should not know the difference between me and a full-timer. Well, then I have to have the same resources that a full-timer has to do that work. I need office space, I need to be able to print, I need access to a computer, I need professional development, I need training. So to sit on committees, to have a say, because sometimes we have full-time faculty who think that they're doing the best for part-timers and they think that they're helping, but because they don't necessarily understand our work or understand how we're different, they make decisions not understanding how that's going to impact us or how we're going to implement that. So equity is understanding what part-timers need in order to be working and doing the same work for our students in this campus that full-timers are doing. And that goes beyond pay.
Thank you. On our campus, we have both full-time and part-time that are represented by CCFF. How can we balance the needs and demands of both parties?
So this comes into having difficult conversations. What is the philosophy of the union? And the philosophy of our union is that both groups matter and both groups need to be taken care of. So in order to balance that, we have to talk about that. What is your life like? Not just like, oh, what are you being paid? Or, you know, I got full-time, you have part-time. But what is your life like? How does this operate? What are your classes like? And how do we find this balance, right? It means talking about the fact that I can be exploited and you can hire 3 of me for 1 full-timer. In my mind, that means that the district really doesn't have to leverage you very much. Right? Because there's too many of us, right, to do that work. So you should care about part-time work conditions. If you don't, then they're not gonna work for you. It's slowly being eroded, tenure in full-time positions, and that's a fear that we should all have, not just at our local, but also at the state level, at the national level. So we have to have those conversations internally about what's going on structurally, what's going on in a bigger picture, not just here at Cerritos, because we're seeing it all across the country. I mean, just Google adjunct faculty and prostitution, homelessness, food stamps, anything you want, you'll find tons of articles about what's going on in academia. And so we have to do whatever we can here for part-timers, but that also means for full-timers, right? They're going after full-time healthcare, they're going after full-time benefits, they're going after full-time pay. We should care about that, because if they're going after them, that means if you ever do get that magical full-time job, you're not gonna have that protection either. So what's happening to one is happening to all, and we both need to care about each other's work conditions, but that really means having honest conversations about our work conditions and not getting our feelings hurt or seeing it as an attack on an individual, but a structural conversation. It's not I win or you win, it's how do we win together and beat this issue, whatever that issue is.
Thank you. What are some of, as a part-timer yourself, what are some of the problems or that have resulted in grievances or just problems that the part-timers have relayed to you And how do you address this?
So some of the issues, I mean, when it comes to grievance, because our contract is so small, especially when it comes to part-time faculty, there's not a lot to grieve. I mean, we have office hours, we have, what's the other one? Like scheduling, things like that. But other issues that part-timers talk to me about are the fact that they're driving to 6 or 7 different campuses in a week. The fact that they're teaching 11 classes and not able to sleep. The fact that they go from making $5,000 a month during the semester because they're teaching 8 classes to $1,800 a month over summer because they're on unemployment, right? How do you navigate that? How do you live a life when you don't know from semester to semester if you're going to have classes or work? They want to do professional development, right? We're expected to do professional development and sit on committees and understand curriculum and do SLOs and all of these things, so that way we can get the full-time job or just help our campus if we're there, because some people don't want to be full-time, right? To help our campuses that we're on, but if we're not compensated for that work, then we can't do it, because we have to do things that compensate us so that we can make money. So that's what I find a lot of is they want to be invested, they want to be involved, but they can't because they have to get to the next campus, they have to do the next job, they have to do the next thing, and they feel like they're not able to do what they need to for their students or for themselves or their families. So those are the things that come up that aren't necessarily grievance related, but they're things that we should be thinking about. How can we make part-time lives better? Because those are the complaints and issues I hear from part-time faculty.
Thank you. Is there anything else that you wanted to add?
No, I just hope you re-elect me and the rest of my slate so you can continue the work we've been doing.
Thank you.
Thank you.